Thank you all for coming today. I'll just actually continue on that line of questioning. Mr. Cuccinelli, how do you think the American people would feel that the Michigan State Secretary of State would allow 27,000 dead people to be on a roll?
I think they'd be astonished. And for in the follow-up, that they couldn't conceive of a legitimate, clean, legal reason to do that.
I'm kind of flabbergasted. I mean, I don't know how she says that personally with a straight face.
Well, Mr. Murphy, she is not alone. I mean, Los Angeles had to be ordered to take 1.2 million non-voters off the rolls. 1.2 million, and this goes on all around the country, unfortunately.
So I'll just push that further. What intent, other than fraud, could there be for wanting to allow such things?
I don't think there is any other intent.
I mean, help me out here. Is there something
else?
else?
It is to leave open the opportunity. Short of fraud, there is also mere confusion, and I believe the left has, and knows it has, and tries to exploit, having a litigation advantage, because they're just staffed up around the country and have been for 20 years, to sue. Prior to you coming in, I noted one of my races was a recount, and that's litigation. And the left has a bigger litigation machine by far than the right, and so muddiness and confusion works to their advantage. It leads into litigation where they deem themselves to have an advantage.
I'm just, I'd love to think that people just want to be fair on both sides and let the issues make what they are. And somewhat in that same line, Mr. Vince Bukowski, Griffith, you did better. Could you opine as to why anybody would be against voter ID? What is the rationale to say it's wrong?
Well, I think some folks have been under the mistaken impression that it keeps people from voting. As the turnout data has now proven, that's just simply not true. Not only that, but the polling shows that people support that idea. So once you know that it doesn't actually keep people from voting, I don't know why you would be against it. If you are, then you must be against requiring a photo ID for the many other.
To get on a phone, to get your SNAP benefits, to get your Medicaid benefits, to do anything. Again, I'm just trying to figure out what rationale other than wantingly to commit fraud would there be for these things.
I don't know. I'm not going to speak for folks who are against it, but I just do know that the evidence on this shows it does not keep people from voting. And in fact, I think there's some evidence that it actually enhances confidence and may help increase turnout. In Georgia, when the voter ID law was in place for the first time in 2008, presidential election, they had a huge increase in turnout, and turnout there in that state, they maintained it by race. Huge increase in turnout of African-American voters and Hispanic voters.
It was a 5% total increase when it was the, quote, the most restrictive, law put forth. Anyway, that's just nonsense. Let me just follow up on another question. One means to increase election integrity and boost confidence are post-election audits. When we discuss them, we refer to actions such as making sure the electrical equipment is working, ballots were cast were eligible, and qualified voters. We're not talking about ballot recounts where there's not comprehensive audits. We're just talking about integrity of these things. So looking back across the United States, how common do we have post-election audits at both the state and local level? I mean, is this a common thing? Is it not a common thing?
In terms of comprehensive audits, not a recount. That's not an audit. Comprehensive audits, almost no one does it. The first state that has put in a requirement.
Should we be doing it?
Yes, we should. Texas has passed a law requiring audits. Their Secretary of State's office has formed a brand new audit division. And right now, they're just, because no one's done it, there aren't any standards for it. I did publish a paper last year in which I took the kind of standards that are used in financial audits and converted those to the kind of standards we ought to have for election audits. And this should not be a partisan thing.
No, absolutely not.
Everyone should agree that we should have post-election audits that look at the entire process, because. All right,
let me just get. Well, I'm sorry. Let me just get one more question in for you. President Biden issued an executive order March 2021 to supposedly promote quote access to voting. In the order, he directed federal employees to get involved in state elections by meddling in voter registration efforts and mail-in ballot and other activities. Is this a constitutional authority?
I didn't think he had any authority to do that, and as Secretary Warner said in a letter, along with a number of other secretaries of state, this basically interfered and could cause chaos and confusion.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.